Hi everyone, this is Jake Symbol ASMR. About 6 months ago, some of you sent me scary stories from your own personal experience, and I'm finally getting around to reading them. I won't spend too long excusing my absence, but I've been busy with some things. I've been doing comedy, I'm looking for an apartment, and some other things going on in my life, but I'm hoping that when things get more stable, I will upload more frequently, and when I put out calls for things like this, I'll get around to them. You know, it won't take me 6 months, so yeah. People like when I do scary story readings, and I would be happy to do another one of these. You can email them to jakesymbolasmr@gmail.com, and when I get enough, I will read them. Before I start, of course, if you like these, don't forget to subscribe, leave a thumbs up, and, let me know in the comments if there's anything scary that you would be interested in hearing me read. I always aim to please. So, obviously I do not have the hugest fan base. It's a small but special fan base. Little symbols. So there aren't many of these, but these are good ones. The first one I'm going to read is from Katie. Note that English isn't Katie's native language. She says so. Excuse any. I don't know, it's written perfectly fine. Early spring 2000. After school, I went to my friend's house and we decided to hang out in their backyard and make a snowman or whatever. Then, for some reason, my friend suggested that we go up to the roof of the shed. Her parents were at work, so it was that kind of a stupid idea kids like to do when they're home alone. And when we were sitting up there, my friend dropped her mitten into the neighbor's yard. I immediately jumped off to get the mitten, but the fence was too high for me to climb back. My friend was freaking out. She told me she would fetch a small ladder. Honestly, I wasn't afraid, and just stood there looking around. The neighbor's house was quite neat, and there weren't any dog footprints in the snow. In a couple of minutes, my friend returned with her ladder. But suddenly, the door slammed open, and an elderly man came out shouting at me. I jumped, of course, and rushed up the ladder. When I was at the very top, something hit me on the side of my head and rolled further down the roof. We didn't have time to see what that was, as we had to bring the ladder back. Then my friend started vomiting and crying. Oh my god, she pointed at something black on the ground. It was a cat's head. That man threw a dead cat's head at me. Oh my god. It wasn't fake. It smelled filthy and had its upper fangs missing. I've always been a big Cats fan, and that infuriated me so much. But my friend begged me not to tell anyone and then begged me to get rid of the poor cat's head. She gave me a bag, and off I went to the nearby field and buried it. Then I walked home and told no one. We never spoke about it, but I still wonder what the freak. That's an insane story. Oh my god. I want to know what that man was doing. Who was he? Why did he have animal remains? Was it him who threw it? That's so dark. I'm happy you survived that, Katie. That man sounds insane, and you got out right in the nick of time. Yeah, thank you, Katie, for sharing that. My god, that was screwed up. Okay. The next one is from Chelsea. Thanks for sharing this, Chelsea. My ex-boyfriend and I used to live in his childhood home together. It was a very normal-looking, newer house. However, whenever I went into the unfinished basement, I would get a sinking feeling and an upset stomach. I would also run up the stairs when I turned out the lights down there. I just had an awful feeling in that basement. One night, I had a very vivid nightmare that there was a portal in the basement being guarded by a half-bull, half-man creature, a minotaur. Minotaur, I don't know how to say that. The dream was very disturbing and very heavy with terrible energy I always felt in the basement. In the morning, I started telling my then boyfriend about the dream. I got as far as saying that there was a portal in the basement and describing where, when he went completely pale and his eyes got huge. He says, "Was there a bull man in the portal?" I have literal goosebumps right now. I don't know if you can see it. Wow. I say yes and freak out. Apparently, he had the same dream as a recurring nightmare when he was a child in that house. I didn't ever dream about it again, but I wouldn't go in the basement to do laundry alone for a very long time. Okay, thank you, Chelsea. That one, I have goosebumps, look at me. Because, what I considered to be a possible paranormal experience was about a dream. It was about dreams I would have in my house. I'm gonna freak myself out here alone in the dark if I talk about it too much, but I actually made a video where I talk about this, where I tell my story, and it was about my own unfinished basement as a kid, and dreams I would have in my house. A very specific type of dream that I would have regularly in my house. I'll put like one of those, tags up there in the top right. You can click that. There it is, right up there. Go click it if you're interested in my story. Open it in another tab, finish this one, because my subscribers have very interesting stories. Thanks for sharing that, Chelsea. I have, noticed with a lot of, personal paranormal experiences I've been told, and these are from people who really aren't, like, that into ghosts or anything, they just have these experiences, but is there so many instances where, like, people will experience things, and then the people who live in that house are like, yep, that's what we experience. I was told a really interesting one recently, but I can't do it justice, so. Anyway, Alina from Australia sent these, sent a few of them, which I'm really grateful for. So, she says not as spooky, but still supernatural. I'll be the judge of that. This one is called Siri Helped Me Connect with a Deceased Friend. A bit of a backstory. Unfortunately, when I was 16, now 24 years old, one of my closest friends committed suicide. I'm very sorry, I can't imagine. I have been quite in touch with the supernatural side and am a very heavy believer. I frequently visit the cemetery for many reasons. I miss them, I need advice, I need someone to talk to, etc. Well, this one day, a few years ago, I went and was in a bit of a rut and asked him if what I was doing was the right choice. My phone, mind you, was placed right near the plaque. He is buried in a grass field section of the cemetery. As I was using my inner monologue to converse with him, Siri, from about 1 meter, 3 feet in front of me, started talking. I grabbed my phone, and on it had said, "Hello, it's okay, miss." It just said, "Hello, it's okay. Hello, there's a line break, it's okay, line break, miss." And Alina assumes this is connected to "I miss you." I freaked out. I got goosebumps again. I freaked out and grabbed my phone and ran to my car, calling my mom immediately. Realizing that this was a once-in-a-lifetime experience, I regret getting super spooked, but will forever cherish this moment. That's really powerful, and it's really reassuring when you get those concrete signs that they're not gone entirely. A lot of people I know who have lost people have had experiences like this, like they get one sign. I'm sorry if I keep interjecting with my own commentary, but I get so excited when I read stuff like this. Alina, your story reminded me a lot of a scene in The Sixth Sense that always makes me cry, which is, I won't spoil it in case some of you haven't seen it, but at the end, basically a character gets a sign from her deceased mother, and it's like really sweet. It always makes me cry. Okay, Alina's next story is Resident House Ghost 1. Roughly 10 years ago, my family and I moved into the house that we were most recently living in. This one night, I was super restless, constantly tossing and turning and feeling as if I was watched. At this point, it was about 2 a.m.-ish, and everyone in the house was asleep. I rolled over to face my open door and saw a silhouette of a tall man wearing a long trench coat and a top hat. Knowing that no one in the house would, 1, dress like that, and 2, be awake, I did what any normal teenager would do and hide under the duvet. I ended up getting a bit brave and peeped my head out of the covers, and he was gone. Although still feeling watched, I hid again. Keep in mind, I didn't tell anyone about what I saw as I tried to play it off to being tired. Two days later, I overheard my younger sister telling my mom about the tall man in a trench coat and a top hat that she saw walking past her window in front of her curtains. My God. So I decided to tell them that I saw him at my door the night before. We have now named him as our resident ghost, and although he doesn't show himself anymore, he does like to play tricks such as turning the TV on and off and flicking the lights on in other parts of the house. I feel as if he isn't malicious, at least I hope, and that he is just kind of hanging around, and we are A-okay with that. That's good. To me, I'm happy. See, I always wonder when people have experiences like this, how do you keep sleeping in your bed? Like when I was a kid, I had a lot of trouble sleeping because I was obsessed with scary things, and I would scare myself, and then, but if I had an experience like that, there's no way I would just go to sleep at night. But my aunt, who's into the paranormal, would always tell me that my roommate just made a noise and scared the shit out of me. She would always tell me that most ghosts are friendly, and in my opinion the proof is in the pudding. You might get creeped out and see things every once in a while, but if all they're doing is playing little tricks, what could the harm be, I guess? Okay, Alina's last story is Resident House Ghost 2. I have recently given birth to amazing identical twins. Congratulations. And since they have come home, I have felt a presence in the house. I used to play it off as one of our loved ones who have passed, but I can't help but feel it's not. Now I know that in the early days, I was running off as little as 3 hours sleep and caring for 2 babies, so it could just be exhaustion, but I used to see figures walk in and out of the twins' room shortly after we came home from the hospital. They're now 7 months old, so a while ago. I constantly hear shuffling up the hallway. This does indeed freak me out. Yeah, me too. I'm not sure what it is, but I kinda want to get the house cleansed as I don't have a good feeling. My partner and I have, however, named him Alan the House Ghost to try and make it a bit lighthearted. That's nice. Don't give him, if he's a shithead, don't give him the satisfaction of scaring you, but yeah, it probably couldn't hurt to get your house cleansed. I've always been told that those gut feelings are important, but yeah. Our next story is from Nicole. Nicole writes, I had to drop my husband off very early for work one morning. I got back home before the sun was up and had a few hours before I needed to leave for work, and decided to try to go back to sleep. The only light in the house that was on was in the kitchen, kitty corner to our bedroom. So our bedroom had a little light shining into it. As I walked into our room, I noticed a shadow on the curtain on the opposite wall. Something seemed off about it, So I paused. I realized the shadow kept moving, just slightly, even though I was still. I took a few steps backwards out of the room. After a couple seconds, the shadow moved again, slowly across the curtain. I thought my mind was playing tricks on me, so I took a few more steps back into the room, watching the shadow. It moved, but not in time with how I was moving. I was taking quick, short steps. The shadow moved in a slow, fluid motion. I looked all around the room. There was nothing there to make that shadow. There would have been nothing outside to make the shadow either. I turned all the lights on the house on and didn't end up going back to sleep. The part that bothers me most, the shadow was human-shaped. God. Yeah, I wouldn't end up going back to sleep either. I mean, God, thank God it was like, here, goosebumps again. I've got actual, look at that. Okay, I'm actually gonna make a part 2 of this, because I have 2 more stories, but they're a little longer. And, I figure I'll just put them one after, I'll put them on a playlist so you can listen to them one after another. Just because I need to, again, I'm busy and I need to go to bed and I have stuff to do this weekend, but yeah, reading these really made me, realize or remember how important making my ASMR is. I just want to say, because some of you sent stories and you had such nice things to say about my work, and just the fact that you are willing to share that, and that I don't know, I really need to get back to regularly making videos, and I'm sorry that it took so long. But I will, and in fact, part of what I'm doing right now is trying to change my situation in life, rearrange things in my life so that I can more easily make ASMR on a regular schedule. So thank you for your patience, thank you to those who submitted stories, thank you for watching, and stick around for part 2, which I will release as soon as possible. And if you submitted stories and it wasn't read in this video, it will be in the next one. Good night, little symbols. Good night. I hope that you are not. I hope that you didn't turn all your lights on like Nicole did. And I hope, unlike Nicole, you get some good sleep. Thank you again for watching, and if you're not gonna watch part 2 right now,